Am I wrong for rolling my eyes at my boyfriend's proposal because it took 25 years of me begging? Yesterday, after dinner, my 52 female boyfriend of 30 years, 53 male, proposed to me. He just walked over towards me holding a box and said to open it. It was a ring, and I had pictured this moment a million different times, but never thought it'd be so apathetic. My boyfriend then said that he was retired now and wants to kick back and enjoy life with me and would love to do it all with me as his wife. A nice speech and all, but from the 5-year mark of our relationship onwards, I have been making clear my deep desire to marry and was consistently dismissed, given empty promises, gaslit. We have been through the gamut with therapy, and one counselor implied that me telling him we needed to go to therapy and getting his butt on the couch still means nothing if his mind has been made up. I was in denial about the fact he was just giving me the false illusion of progress to stall. My boyfriend and I have 4 kids. The eldest 3 are adults, while the youngest is 15 female, was sleeping over elsewhere when this all went down. All of our kids went to a private school filled with typical Southern soccer parents. I had to endure PTA moms' jabs about me not sharing a last name with my kids. Preteen years were hell because the other kids would taunt my kids by saying, "Your dad would rather sin and go to hell than marry your mom." My boyfriend's mom would tell him that marriage would be selfish on my part. It's just a piece of paper. My boyfriend ended up raising the ranks until he became an executive. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I feel like there was always a power imbalance, exacerbated by the fact that I could be tossed anytime. I partly did stay because I wanted my kids to have the best life, and because I felt lucky and proud to be partnered with such an intelligent, successful man, but also because I loved him. These past few years, my boyfriend's career has taken a downturn. He will never be poor, but the company he was part of took a nosedive during 2020, and he had made enemies out of associates, board members. He decided to step back from his role and take the generous severance agreed upon. He is living off his investments and wants to relax. He decided to step back from his role and take the generous severance agreed upon. Now he is living off his investments and wants to relax. I did not like how his career ended and how he treated people, and had been deciding whether I wanted to leave and find somebody else after our youngest turns 18. So the proposal was a shock because I should hope that he noticed I have avoided conversations about the future as of late. He rattles on about downsizing our house so we can travel and also cut back on our other expenses, but we're not married, so it's all his money, his house anyways. He noticed my eye roll and was offended. He asked what's wrong, and I said that suddenly, now that he's downsizing, I'm good enough to marry. He got mad and said that now he's downsizing and no longer an executive, I suddenly think our relationship is disrespectful, and started implying I was a gold digger. I was so angry I walked out and said I might just go out looking for a respectful relationship because I don't know what respect is anymore. Am I the a-hole? So P made her bed and now she's lying on it, because how the hell are you going to being with a man for 25 years as boyfriend and girlfriend when you knew you wanted to be married and you said you wanted to be married? It's crazy. That is crazy. She said, "Oh, I deeply desired it." Clearly, you didn't desire it that much. If you're willing to have 4 entitled children for a man who didn't want to marry you for 25 years. And on top of that, how is a woman good enough to have 4 children when she's good enough to be with for 25 years, but she's not good enough to marry? Like, that's what's so mind-boggling to me. And it's like, people like, "Oh, well, not everybody aspires to get married because marriage is too much of a commitment, but they will be having kids." How is having children less commitment than getting married? Like, OP, please have a spine and get out of this relationship. And for him to want you to marry him now that you seem to be losing interest, he's trying to reel you in. So it's like tossing a dog a bone. Am I wrong for calling police on my ex for abandoning his child at mine while his girlfriend was giving birth? I, 32 female, have been married to my ex, Dan, 35 male, for 6 years before we divorced at the end of 2020 due to him cheating with Kay. Kay and Dan have a son who is 3, which was conceived and born during the pandemic while I was under high risk, and their entire affair has cost me some of my physical health, not just mental one. After the divorce, Dan moved out from my house and we haven't spoken since. Last week, Dan suddenly dropped his son on my house without giving me any warning or explanation. He only mumbled that Kay was giving birth to their second child and needs him in the delivery room due to complications. He left before I could protest, and I have tried texting and calling him multiple times and have received no reply. I do not know why he thought it was a good idea, as I had plans and they definitely don't involve someone else's child. I ended up calling the police and have told them what happened, explained it's not my child and I haven't agreed to look after him and his dad is not responding. They took the child and I haven't heard anything until very early hours of the same day when my ex called me, calling me an a-hole, as the cops found him in the hospital and basically forced him out of the delivery room so he can look after his child. So he missed the birth of his second, and Kay had some complications, so she's in intensive care. He also started shouting, saying that his and Kate's parents are living at the opposite ends of the country and have medical conditions, which mean they can't look after his son. I have told him that he should have used his brain cells and thought about it in advance instead of dumping the product of his affair at my house, knowing that me and him are not civil, but what's called even bigger a-hole. I have mentioned this to some of my family and friends, and while some people are on my side, others agree with my ex, saying I should have looked after the kid and an a-hole for calling the cops. Honestly, I really hate it when children, especially little kids, are punished for the crimes of their parents, because I bet that little kid was so confused and terrified to have his dad panicking, to have his mom in intensive care, to have this random woman call the police on him. Like that part must have been so traumatizing for the little kid. And I don't know. I feel like OP has her way. Like, she has her right to feel the way she feels. But I feel like at some point, like, she should have looked deeper in her heart to look past the issues, just for the child's sake. Because I feel like everybody should be able to take care of children, because kids are so innocent and they don't do anything wrong. And people, especially adults, the ones that are supposed to be there for them, always put them in bad positions. I don't know, you guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my mother-in-law apology after she treated me bad? I am 27 female. When I met my Daniel, 29, in the whole story, she refers to him as my Daniel, which I think is so cute. Anyways, when I met my Daniel, 29, 4 years ago, we instantly connected. He asked me out and we were together for 3 years before he asked me to marry him. We do have our ups and downs, and one of our downs is my mother-in-law. To give some background, mother-in-law adopted Daniel from her sister because she can't have babies, so Daniel is her only child. When Daniel first introduced me to mother-in-law, she was nice enough and I liked her. But even then, now I think about it, I could sense she didn't like me. It started her with trying to change me into someone I was not. Told me I would look better with short hair, and that Daniel had a thing for women with short hair, which made me raise a brow at that, because my long hair is what my Daniel told me he first noticed and liked about me. This is just one of many examples she started doing. Every time I refused, she got more unpleasant towards me. Daniel's cousin would tell me that she was talking nasty about me behind my back, and that she was saying that she hated me and I was no good for her son. She eventually said it to my face in front of her son when we told her we got engaged. There was a big fight and me and Daniel left. He apologized to me and got upset when I told her what she had been doing to me. It was during the time we weren't speaking to mother-in-law is when I got curious about Daniel bio mother. I asked questions and he told me about her and that she only lived a town away. When I asked why he never introduced me to her, he said mother-in-law and bio mother had a fallout years ago and they don't speak anymore. I asked would he be okay with me telling her about our engagement. He said that he was fine with it, so I rang her and told her, and she got excited and asked if it was okay if we could meet. By the end of our meeting, I loved her. She's a beautiful soul. I invited her to our wedding, and she was thrilled and cried and thanked us. Daniel even started speaking to her the more she came around. My mother-in-law found out that I had contacted bio mother. She rang him up crying, asking why did we invite her sister, and he got annoyed and told her it's our wedding and we can invite whoever we want. She screamed at him. He hung up. I know he was hurting. She rang again a few days later, and he went into another room and returned and put her on loudspeaker, and she apologized to me for saying what she said. I just shook my head, not saying anything because it was just sounded fake, and handed the phone back to him. He knew I wasn't accepting her apology, and he ended the call. I asked if he was okay, and he said he's conflicted because she is his mother and he does love her, but he feels torn between the two of us. I feel bad now for not accepting her apology. Am I the a-hole? Yo, I'm not even over exaggerating when I say I would rather die single for the rest of my life than to marry men with horrible parents, especially like men with horrible families, but especially a horrible mother, especially one of those moms that are highly obsessed with their sons. It's giving the other woman, and I don't want to be part of that.